Welcome to the presentation of our new organization. These are the proposed changes that we make to the organization to not only become more profitable, but also more efficient. My name is Edward Gonzalez. This is the final project for OAD 30063. Our first problem that we see is our diversity numbers are actually very low. So in order to improve that diversity, first of all, we're going to actually improve the education of our staff. We're going to design a repayment program that helps our employees go back to college to gain their degree, to finish their degree, or to actually open up new avenues for some of our employees that might want to move up within our company. Our company will only be as strong as our weakest member, and if we can actually encourage our employees to spend some of their time to actually further develop themselves, then we can actually aid them in the development within our organization. Next, we should encourage our employees to have a scholarship program in place to allow them to go after certain positions available within our company, whether that be our engineering program, our upper management, or even our available chairman positions that we might have in the future. Again, if we can develop these people who know the positions and who can rise to the rankings, our organization will only be better in the long run. Also, we want to go ahead and increase our development from within our own in-house with our human resources to not only track our development, but also to have means to make them stronger when they deliver their trainings to our organization staff and outside as they venture out in recruitment. This is our first major change that we're going to actually make inside of our organization. Currently, we have a very centralized management where everybody talks up to the very top level. We're actually going to decentralize that. We're going to allow our managers and upper management in our local sectors really define how those roles are going to be met, how the employees are going to interact, and what resources they need to further develop their employees. Remember, if we can't stay in touch with our growing company, then we got to allow our managers that we set into place to take those reins. So the first thing to make sure that all of our managers are in place and everything, we're going to have bi-monthly meetings with them to ensure that our message is coming still across of what we would like to see in them, but also so they can filter back into us what they need from us and what they see the changes are needing to be made. Maybe one division needs something that the other division doesn't need, so we can always change that. We also want to have town hall meetings for all of our staff so that way they know that we're still in touch with them. We want to be able to get those ideas from them, bring them back up, filter them back to them, let them know, yes, we can make this change. No, we can't make this change, and here's why. But we want to set that precedence in there of communication that we are actually there for our employees every single time that they need us. Communication is going to be very key in this change process. If we can't communicate with our staff, then we're not going to be able to make these changes, and we're going to go back to the way they were. But when we actually have heard every idea, investigated why it would work or why it wouldn't work, so that way those employees that are giving us those ideas are knowing that they're being heard and knowing that they're actually making a positive change within inside the company, whether that be a manager, low-level employee, maybe even an up-and-coming employee that would want to continuously move up. We get to hear their voice and we get to implement it if it actually works. To further the idea of decentralizing our management, the first thing we got to put, and this is my very first bullet pointing here, we got to continue training our managers for all the changes that will be happening. If this has to be a monthly thing, if it has to be bi-monthly, however, we need to make sure we have that time for them to be able to continue their training. Also, they need to be able to adapt to their teams. And their teams are going to be rapidly changing with this. A lot of growth potential inside of this model. If people are getting promoted and we're hiring new hires, our management needs to be able to change with that team. That team is going to be very, very organic, especially once we start to diversify our company, which our hiring managers are going to do that when they go to recruit to colleges now. They're going to recruit directly from, the latest uh, employees that will be coming through graduation, maybe through the scholarship model that we'll have, or whatever we're looking for. We want to make sure that our recruitment is top notch, and we'll be able to rival with any of our other companies that we compete against. We want to switch our mind frame into a Kaizen mind frame. The reason is we want to be very, very organic in this organization. We're going to be changing a lot, as I've said in many of the other slides already. It's going to be hard work. It's going to take a lot of determination. It's going to take a lot of recognition from the people who are accepting it. But we also need to be patient in that. This is not going to happen overnight. As much as we would all love to see this change happen as rapidly as possible, it's just not going to happen, and we have to accept that fact. And we got to make sure that we can grow with each other and make sure that all the changes that will happen will work, because if they don't work, we need to be able to accept that fact, take a step back, make the changes that need to happen so we can continuously move forward. This process can work very well as long as everybody has the same mindset of we're going to work hard every single day to make those changes. So you might be asking yourself, how are we going to drive these changes? And it's going to be strictly from an encouragement piece. We need to be able to reinforce those habits, those good habits that will come out of this. There will be some employees that will have a pushback, but that's where our coaching sessions will take over. Our coaching sessions should never be negative. They should just be more informative of how we want to change, how we're going to change, and what we're going to use in order to move forward. As you can kind of see on the slide, I've proposed having like an MVP, a most valuable player, or the most improved, that will happen maybe either once a month or however your management sees place. But we gotta have that recognition piece in place, so that way when something good happens, these employees want to drive harder for that moment and be able to move forward. Also, we want to make it more organic, again, to use that same phrase again, but to allow our agents and our employees to see the lighter side of work, whether that be a pizza party or having a little social hour or little games every now and then on their breaks, to kind of break the monotony of the everyday work life. That goes a long way for efficiency, because they have a way of going out and releasing that stress to go back to work and work harder for us. Each division needs to come up with a set of goals that they can meet by the end of the year, but also what we can meet monthly. These small goals will help us reach the bigger goal of every change that happens. There is not going to be an end to this. This will happen every single year, every single month, every single day. We will always be changing to make ourselves better. And in order to do that, we got to be able to reach those small goals. And if we don't reach them, then we got to be able to reach out and say why we didn't reach them, so that way we can make the changes again to drive ourselves forward. These can be our sales goal, but our transition goals as well. If we're trying to implement a new service or a new model, these goals need to be in place and need to be communicated to each of our staff, so that way they can drive us. Our employees will do so much work for us if we can just communicate well with them. These goals won't be hard to reach, and we'll see a lot of success from it, and it will just drive our company further. In closing, what I really want to drive for is to bring fun back to the workplace. We all know that Monday rolls around quicker than anything else in the world. And when Monday hits, we always have to, get our morning coffee, kiss our family goodbye and come into work, and for the 8 hours that day, the 8 hours the next day, and so on and so forth. Some of us put in more hours, maybe for overtime, or maybe we're salary based and we have to get that project done before we can go home. By taking the time and making sure that we have a decent break room for our employees, maybe a game room or a meditation room, something that will break up their day to make sure that they can be as efficient as possible. The year's long, and of course they have their vacation days, they can take their own time, but what if we give them some time? What if we give them the extra time to do an extra task? Or maybe if they do go ahead and take that scholarship program or that, repayment program that I propose, and they need that extra time to study, we got to be able to do that, make that time, get to know our employees. But above all, and I've hit on it in several one of these slides, communication is key. We see it with Google, we see it with Apple. Their employee success rates are very high, and their turnover rate is very low because they take care of their employees. They're always changing, they're always making themselves better. They give their employees every avenue possible to make their lives easier, and that's what we need to do for our employees. Thank you for your time. Again, my name is Edward Gonzalez. It's been a joy to bring this to you, and I hope you have a great day.